Assalamu alaikum. First, I would like to thank the organizing committee for, especially Mr. Iqbal, for giving me the opportunity to present some of the work that I do while I'm watching soccer Roshan teams and so on. So today I'm going to talk about predicting partial dosimetric images using deep neural networks. Artificial intelligence is intelligence displayed by machines, in contrast with natural intelligence displayed by humans and animals. We want from a machine to do things that usually a human will do at the same level or even better. That's the whole idea of artificial intelligence. So for example, we want the ability of a machine to interact with the world through speech, vision, motion, etc. The ability to model the world and reason about it. These are all part of artificial intelligence. And also very important is the ability to learn and to adapt. So a subset of artificial intelligence is what's called machine learning. Machine learning is the field of study that gives computers the ability to learn without being explicitly programmed. Machines, they follow instructions given by a programmer, while humans, they learn from experience. So in machine learning, we're trying to give the ability of a machine, but to learn from data. A subset of machine learning is deep learning. It involves learning with algorithms which are brain-like. Structured algorithms are called artificial neural networks. Deep learning has a huge data need. It requires a lot of data, but requires little human intervention to function properly. In 2016, a research group in Toronto, they made this experiment. They had a pigeon, and they had these images of cells, cancerous and healthy, and they basically tried to train the pigeon, okay, to pick, the cancer, which one is cancer or not. So they whenever a pigeon picked on a cancerous image, they would reward this pigeon. And eventually, the pigeon really did a great job. It was doing very comparative to a trained pathologist, okay?
Good things that we don't have a pathologist here.
So this was done, and how do we train the pigeon? Well, in a quick way or efficiently. How do we know that this pigeon actually, because we expose the pigeon to some images, how we know that the pigeon did not really just memorize these images and then were exposed to a new set of images, they failed. They actually performed well also on these images. But there are definitely, you all laughed, and there are ethical issues when it comes to machine learning. Dr. Zahid, can you tell your patient, for example, oh, you've been diagnosed with cancer because a pigeon picked up an image? I think this will be very shocking, right? A pathologist usually will go through a lot of years of training, and that's why we trust decisions from these people. But training neural networks is not different than training pigeons, actually. So an artificial neuron, this is the element of a neural network. It consists of, you can think of it as a class. Basically, we feed it with some inputs, and we put these inputs in a summation function with some weights, and then we transfer this summation to an activation function, and then this neuron is going to give out a signal based on this summation function. Activation functions that are used, there are a lot actually, and they are basically mathematical gates that determine at each node in a neural network whether and to what extent to transmit the signal that the nodes had received from the previous layer. It is a function that calculates outputs of the nodes based on inputs and the weights on individual inputs. So this what looks like a neural network. We use neurons to structure an artificial neural network where we have here inputs. These are usually called, in the terminology for data scientists, are called features. Okay, and we pass these features and get some output here, and then we check how good are or we compare these outputs to a reference set of known things. These are called labels in terminology of data. But training an artificial intelligence is really a hard thing to do. It's an iterative process. So initially, I mean, the whole idea is we need to obtain or to get the correct weights and biases for each of these nodes in order to judge that it's actually good in predicting what we were looking for. So initial step is we initialize the weights and biases, and then we go through an iterative loop of iteration. First thing, we will do a forward pass. We take a set of data, pass it through the neural network, see what's the output, compare it to our labels, and then determine what's the error between that. Then we need to do a back projection process where we try to figure what's the or how can we modify these weights in order we reduce the error between what's calculated and so on. So it's really a long process, iterative process. Machine learning, whether we like it or not, has the potential to revolutionize the field of radiation oncology, but there is much work to be done, definitely. A nice article that actually lists some of the possibilities or areas of interest for machine learning in radiotherapy. This could be in patient assessment, simulation, treatment planning, quality assurance, and treatment delivery and follow-up. I'm basically interested more in the QA part of this. But definitely there are commercial treatment planning systems today that exist that utilize machine learning for auto-segmentation, for example, or for treatment planning. This is, since I'm talking about QAs, this is a very nice review article by Osman and Maalij, published in 2021, that lists, or it's a review article of publications of machine learning related to quality assurances in radiation therapy. We are a big fan of portal dosimetry in our department, okay? So I think most of Varian users, they know that it's very simple to use. We have a portal image, and we compare a measured portal image with a predicted dosimetric portal image from also available in ARIA. And then we perform this gamma analysis, and we say the plan is good. For example, if meets a certain criteria of 95% passing, 3% dose difference, and 3 millimeter distance to agreement, or whatever factors we're going to do. This is 2 years ago. I said, okay, I'm a lazy guy. I don't want to do portal dosimetry. I'm going to try, okay, we have a lot of data. I want to start to see if I can understand the concept of machine learning. So I just took one feature, the area of the field. And I was trying to look, okay, can I predict using this area whether the portal dosimetry is going to pass or fail? So we used several models, and the best model that we had was a logistic model, where we set, for example, here I think it's about at this it's about 150 centimeters square. If a plan is larger in area than that, then there is a 5% chance that we declare the plan has passed, but with a 5% chance of making an error. So based on this model, any plan that has an area less than that, it needs to actually be done. It's determined to be failing. The problem we face is that actually this is not true, because we see here a lot. The green dots is the number of plans that are passing actually. So the number of failing plans were much less, but this is what the model gave us. So one way to modify this is, okay, we have a plan, we use a regression model, but probably we need to increase the number of features that we're going to use. For example, the field sizes, for example, the dose, the modulation, or whatever. This is, it's interesting, or it could be done, but I told you I'm a lazy guy. I'm not going to go and fish these numbers from our planning system and so on. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do it in a different way. You know, when we do a plan, we generate a portal image. Okay, we have measured a lot of portal images, and we perform a gamma analysis. So instead of actually measuring a portal image, maybe I can train a neural network to predict what would be the portal image that's going to come out from it. Okay, and then once is predicted, then I can perform a gamma analysis on this predicted image. The hardware and software that we use is we have a MacBook, and I bought one with 96 gigs of RAM just because of the training part, and I've developed my own application. I know there are things that are available for research, but it's just out of interest. I want to understand how things are done. So I use Zojo software for developing application and my SQL database to save the data. These portal we use currently. I have about 493 portal images that I'm going to show you results of these. So this is the application. It's a graphical user interface, and you can see the images are. So it's nice that the person is seeing what's happening, seeing comparison, how it's learning, and so on, and also give some information about, for example, the error. So this is the error, and this is the accuracy of the training part. Software features, it's a graphical user interface. Within it, we can import generated and measured portal images, store the data in a database, visualize the training process, and randomly generates the training and testing data sets. Remember, when we need to do training, we need to split the data set into a training, things that are used only for training, and then we validate the training by using, comparing it to a testing data set. We've also implemented some things to prevent overfitting, like L1 and L2 regularization. It's just a drop down that one can select. Stochastic mini batch and batch learning methods. All of these things I've learned actually while I'm classical, momentum, and Adam. These are basically these algorithms will help the neural network to train faster, a little bit faster. So this is the idea. Is we built our neural network. We have what we use as features is we take a region of the portal image and we take all of the pixels, line them up as our features. We also, in the file, since the field size is there and the collimator rotation, these are all VMAT plans, by the way. Then these are data, we're going to put it in. And we pass this, or we have a neural network with 5 hidden layers. And at the end, we compare the outputs to, again, the labels that are also pixels from the measured portal images. So we started first by testing our program. We generated things randomly, a random image. So this is a generated image. This is a measured image. It's exactly the same. And we want to know if the neural network can actually predict this measured images. So this is an epoch, by the way, is when your neural network sees all of your training data for one time. Each time it sees that data, it's called an epoch. So after epoch, nothing's there. But look, after 10,000 epochs, we're starting to see a match between, or an agreement, sort of agreement. It's still a bit noisy, but there is an agreement between the predicted image compared to the generated. And again, this is the one on the bottom is the same similar example. What about portal images? So we looked at a portal image and we took only the area 25 by 25 pixels in the center. And this is here a movie showing you how actually the images are progressing towards actually the measure. And this here at the end, this is the result after 1,000 epochs. So we're seeing a very good agreement between the learned and the measured. That's what we're comparing, measured versus what's being learned. Here this is an example where our pigeon did not really do well. It's a little, we could not see, for example, this gap between the leaves there. We could not see it. How about, so this is exciting, 25, 25, let's increase. So this is 50 pixels. So let's look at what's the predicted image, after 50, for 50 by 50. And this is the learned image after approximately 600 epochs, and here and here. Of course, I'm showing you the good ones. So, but believe it or not, to produce this, it needed 6 or 7 days. okay? And this is, we're talking about a 50 by 50 pixels. That's an area of less than 2 centimeters. And we got excited. Okay, let's go for 75 by 75 pixels. The epochs. Now, these are the images after 60 epochs. This is 12 days training. Okay, and we still only managed to do only 60 epochs. But the results are promising. We're seeing, okay, what things probably, if we left it to run more, then it's going to be fine. All of these calculations are done on a CPU. So in summary, a graphical user interface was built for training an artificial neural network to predict measured portal images. The model was trained and tested using 498 image pairs. Although the training was on a CPU and on limited maximum 3 by 3 centimeter squared area, satisfactory results were observed. Future work, definitely we want to utilize GPUs if we really want to be serious about this. And there are packages like PyTorch or TensorFlow. These are written in Python. So now I have to spend a course just how to know how to write things in Python, but I think it's worth it. Increase the area. Definitely, memory is a big problem with neural networks. And imagine a portal image. We have 1,000, roughly around 1,000 by 1,000, 1 million features. Imagine how we're going to do this. Memory is going to be really a big problem. So there are some ideas that probably we're going to implement and probably just learn, part of this and so on. Definitely, we need to also include the gamma analysis. We have not done that yet, but we're going to include that, and we want to increase. The neural networks are hungry for data. So this is something continuing. We're going to continue to do that. So at the end, I just want to make one disclaimer. I'm not a data scientist, but I'm a person who likes to train pigeons. Thank you.
So do we have any questions to this nice presentation? Yes.
Very nice first. Very nice. I think the patient will not finish the treatment actually. Maybe he's at the follow-up and still you're doing the patient specific area. Right? So, but this is approach very interesting. George today he was asking me about on the ecosystem. We just do independent check. Independent check. So we're not doing really patient specific. Such a model on the adaptive approach that might be something. How feasible? How do you think from what you've done? Where do you see the future?
Well, the processing power for computers is always increasing. Okay, memory is also increasing. So these are I could see the future model. I mean, why not? Artificial intelligence could be used to do this. I have to admit, since I'm not a data scientist, maybe there are ways first in the algorithm to make it more efficient, in the calculation, speed it up. And that's why I want to use these pre-made packages, because probably they're more efficient. Another thing is RAM. Now we see our areas, they're coming with 32, 64, RAM is increasing. So I think it could be used. And by the way, this is also another question, is how many images do I need? And how, if, for example, I manage to get a model, do you need to use train it at the same time? Actually, there is something called transfer learning. So you can start with the model that has been achieved and then modify it, adjust it based on your machine or your data.